Once upon a time, deep in the heart of the peaceful kingdom where Snow White lived with her prince, spring was just beginning to bloom. The birds sang sweet melodies, the trees wore new green leaves, and flowers smiled at the golden sun. Snow White spent her days tending the royal gardens, singing with the birds, and visiting her dear friends the Seven Dwarfs. She had never forgotten how they cared for her, and she often brought them delicious apple pies or handmade gifts. One sunny morning, as Snow White was walking through the forest on her way to visit the dwarfs, she noticed something unusual. A small stream that usually sparkled with crystal clear water now looked cloudy and dark. The fish were gone, and the flowers near the banks were wilting. "Oh my," whispered Snow White, "this isn't right at all." Suddenly, a soft voice spoke. "The enchanted spring is fading, and with it, the magic of the forest." Startled, Snow White looked around and saw a tiny creature perched on a branch. It was a forest sprite, no taller than a squirrel, with glittering wings and a crown made of moss. "My name is Liora," the sprite said, "and I need your help. The enchanted spring, which gives life to the forest, is losing its magic. If we don't act soon, the whole forest will fall into silence." Snow White knelt beside the stream, her heart full of worrying. "Of course I'll help, but what can we do?" Liora fluttered her wings and explained, "The magic is guarded by three ancient gems: hope, kindness, and courage. Long ago, they were placed in hidden parts of the forest. But someone has stolen them." Snow White's eyes widened. "Who would do such a thing?" "I fear it was Thistlethorn, a mischievous forest goblin who once tried to trap the light of the moon. He wants the forest's magic for himself." Determined, Snow White agreed to search for the missing gems. "Let me ask my friends for help," she said. She hurried to the cottage of the Seven Dwarfs, where Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, Dopey, and Doc were enjoying breakfast. "A magical adventure," Doc said, adjusting his glasses. "Sounds dangerous, but also exciting," added Happy. "We're coming with you," said Grumpy, though he tried to hide his smile. The group set off on a grand adventure. The first gem, Hope, was hidden in the Cave of Echoes, where voices from the past whispered through the walls. Inside, the cave was dark and full of strange sounds. Bashful almost turned back, but Snow White sang softly to calm the group. "Even when we cannot see, hope will light the path for thee." Her voice echoed in the cave, and a gentle glow appeared. There, nestled in a crystal alcove, was the gem of hope. As Snow White picked it up, the entire cave lit up with warm light. Next, they journeyed to the Meadow of Dreams, where the kindness gem was said to grow like a flower. But the meadow was now full of thorns and twisted vines. "This place used to be full of laughter," Liora whispered subtly. Then they saw tiny creatures called whiffles trapped beneath the vines. Without thinking, Snow White and the dwarfs began freeing them. As they helped the last whiffle, a golden bloom rose from the earth. At its center lay the kindness gem. The final gem, courage, was hidden on the mountains of mist, guarded by fierce winds and tall cliffs. Dopey nearly flew away in a gust. As they climbed higher, fog thickened around them, and strange shadows danced in the mist. Suddenly, Thistlethorn appeared. He was a grumpy, green goblin with a crown of thorns and a cloak made of cobwebs. "You'll never reach the gem," he cackled. "The mountain belongs to fear." But Snow White stepped forward. "Fear cannot stop us. Love and courage are stronger." She took a deep breath and began climbing the final ridge. One by one, the dwarfs followed her. Thistlethorn tried to stop them with illusions and tricks, but their hearts were strong. At the peak, a beam of sunlight broke through the fog, revealing the courage gem nestled in a stone flower. Thistlethorn groaned. "New, how did you?" But Liora raised her hands, and the three gems floated into the air, spinning with light. "The forest has chosen love," she said. "Your tricks are powerless here." Defeated, Thistlethorn vanished in a puff of smoke. With all three gems returned, the enchanted spring sparkled once more. Flowers bloomed again, birds returned, and even the clouds looked brighter. Back at the castle, Snow White planted a special garden near the palace using water from the restored spring. She called it the Garden of Light, and every child in the kingdom was welcome to visit. The Seven Dwarfs returned to their cottage with stories to last a lifetime. And every spring, they would gather with Snow White at the garden and remember how hope, kindness, and courage saved the forest. And so, the forest remained forever full of song and laughter, watched over by a kind princess and her loyal friends. The end.